Seth, you just popping in to say hi and you're bye? Oh boy.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
First off, the fire and trivia night Saturday night. Listen, it was going off and off, and it was so darn loud. I feel so bad. There's going to be a part 2 on Tuesday, classic Hollywood movies trivia. But it was going off, and I had a fireman pounding on the door saying, "You got to get out of here." And I'm like going, okay. And I threw everything I could in a bag and I took off down there. 5 minutes later, they're like going, everything's fine. It's all good. Yes, Seth the Welsh. Hello, I heard that. I will be listening. Good to see you, Seth. Connie Clary, Black Roses, Judy Gayhart. CM is here. Connie is here as always. Thomas Gordon. That be it. With that said, Short Night of Glass Dolls, 1971, written and directed by Aldo Lado, who, geez, I mean, after this film, this is his feature debut. This is the first film he's done. And I can't believe it. I mean, I love this. It was so different. It was like nothing I've seen before, definitely in a Giallo movie, but I think in any other. Oh, hi, Ginger. How you doing? Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Becca Too Tall, what's going on? Hello. All it's been a minute. Off work a few nights. Glad to see everyone tonight.
National Puzzle Day and Corn Chips Day. That's a great combo.
Yum. There you go. But yes, this movie is something else. His second film is Who Saw Her Die, which a lot of people say is even better, and his second movie debut. But this being his first, I mean, what a film. Listen, I know you already don't like it, Ginger, or have problems with it or something. But I thought this was one of the better two in a row here, I think, for me. But this two movies in a row, two Giallos in a row that really are very, very interesting and very well done.
Oh, okay.
And this one, just because of the concept, the supernatural kind of side of things. And it's got Barbara Bach in it, but only for a little bit.
Yeah, and only for a couple minutes.
Yeah. Barbara Bach plays Amira Svoboda, who is the boyfriend of a girlfriend of Gregory Moore, played by Jean Sorrell, who does an unbelievable job in my eyes in acting and in my eyes, right? Because this movie, let me wrap my fingers around this, Ginger, okay? Or somehow. Oh, geez. Because it's so different. The movie basically starts out and continues till the end with Jean Sorrell, the actor playing Gregory Moore,
a very familiar face.
Yes, playing a journalist from the United States who has come to to Czech, Prague.
Mm-hmm.
Is where it's at. Adam, for Christ, what's going on? Dino, drink your water. Why am I coughing? What's going on? This movie is different kind of movie for a Giallo. Yes, it's more of a supernatural kind of. Hey, the original title of this movie was also called Paralyzed, or one of the titles was called Paralyzed.
That would have made sense.
That makes sense, but I actually like the name, which I don't know how much this makes sense. Short Night of Glass Dolls, but in Italian fashion, we'll kind of try to dissect that throughout this discussion.
You always get it though. You get it, and I never get. I can't get it. Like, why do they call it that? And then you always know why, and I'm still like, Yes, that's why, and I just couldn't put it together.
You mean in this movie?
In any of these movies, like, why do they call it that? And I'm like, I still
Oh,
can't figure out why they
yeah.
called it that.
Short Night of Glass Dolls. And ow. Well, I see it's a tough one. But nevertheless, Gregory Moore, this journalist, the movie starts right off with him in a morgue. Okay. He seems to be dead. Well, it doesn't start off there. They find him dead in a park. And also,
There's a crow.
there's a crow that's there in the opening sequence, and this cleaner who's cleaning the park or the city. You always get that. I guess this is Prague, so you always got a sweeper, even in the 70s. You know, we used to have sweepers, city sweepers in the 20s and 30s, but not no more. We got big machines that don't do anything but make messes and add water to the dirt on the on the streets. Oh,
And
Justin.
blow stuff around. Just blow
Yeah, it
stuff
doesn't
around.
do nothing but just moisten up the dirt, and they're
And
getting
those
paid.
guys who do those machines, they make more money than even garbage men. That's the job you want because they make the most money.
Yeah, and they're laughing in there with music going, we're adding water to the street. But anyways, Gregory Moore is laying there, and you get this, he's dead. And so the police come, but there's this guy who pushes himself on this, like Trading Places, Eddie
Yes,
Murphy.
I was wondering if you would get that. The
Trading Places,
Places
Eddie Murphy would push himself around on a wooden,
with two rocks. He'd push himself
yeah.
along with two rocks.
And this guy comes pushing himself up at the scene, not saying
And he
nothing.
doesn't move. He's just like
Yeah.
smoking a
And
cigarette. Like, what is he
a
doing?
suit on. A suit, but only half
Well,
a
half a
body.
suit anyway.
Half a suit and half a body on this wooden skateboard, whatever it is. It's very odd, very weird. But they find him dead there. They think he's dead because there's no heartbeat. They don't feel a pulse.
And he's just staring. His eyes are just wide open. He's
His
just
eyes are
staring.
wide open.
And he got some pretty
WWM.
blue eyes.
Yes, he does. Bright blue eyes. Gene Sorel is, I guess, for the 70s, you can say he's a good looking man.
You know who I thought it was? I thought it was Robert Goulet. I was like, is that Robert Goulet?
Oh no, not Robert Goulet. No, John McGee. What's going on? Good to see you. Hey, it's Dave Plouffe
Hey,
with
Dave,
another
how's the
gardening video.
We need to know how Dave's garden is today. Dave Plouffe, how does your garden grow?
The ringing in my ears or on my computer has stopped. I know that was awful, Dave, when it happens.
Oh.
And listen, firefighters pounding on my door saying, "Get out, you gotta get out." And I'm like going, "What?" So I bagged up what I could and I split. 5 minutes later, they said, go on. It's so ridiculous. Anyways, so his eyes are wide open and they get him to the morgue. And the movie from this point on is played out and structured with this character, Gregory Moore, on a table in the morgue. And he's dead. They're clinically, they're calling him clinically dead.
They even stick him in the fridge. He's in the fridge and everything.
But he starts to talk, which is very, very cool. I mean, I'm like going, this is an interesting concept. We can also say in the end, is he dead or isn't he dead throughout this movie? But he's got characteristics of.
Well, we know that he is, don't we?
Well, no. I mean, this is my
actually,
point.
we really don't. I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I'm thinking, well, what was going on? But he starts speaking and saying, "What's going on here? Why am I
I'm
here?
not dead. I'm not dead.
I can't move my body. My body's like his body won't move, but he can speak in his mind."
Think about how horrifying that would be. They think you're dead.
Oh, I know. Listen, that's why I'm being burnt when I'm, when I go. Dave's here. You are, Ginger. A link to something there.
To
Thank you,
see
Dave.
Dave's garden and how it grows?
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Grand Tour. The Grand Tour. So you
Ooh.
will see everything up to this point. Dave Plouffe, very, very good. Wilson Nightstand. Hi there from St. Augustine. Good to see you. Good to have you. Yeah, we are going to be switching up here, Giallo films. We are going to be tackling other movies, and I'm going to be tackling them myself because Ginger's not a Giallo kind of gal. But anyways,
But we're gonna have so many other movies that we can talk
oh, I know
about.
there are. Listen, I know, and but we'll
I
see
think
how
I
this
already
goes.
saw some up there that I had suggested to you. You already put a
Yes,
couple of them up there.
yes, yes.
Schnookums.
Yep, the Serpent and the Rainbow. That yes, the movie. Okay, so he's laying on the slab. The movie goes into this whole kind of spin where he's trying to find out what's going on, snap out of this, and then he starts remembering things, and then the movie kind of spins off into him remembering or retracing all of his thoughts and memories of what happened, the last thing he could remember.
And this is
And
when we get to see the lovely Mira.
yes, Mira Svoboda, Barbara Bach, who plays his girlfriend. There are elements in this movie too. We find out that there are elements of black magic and the occult that have to deal with
I
what's
learned
going on
something in
here.
this movie about yes, I learned something in this movie.
You
I
did.
learned
That's
something
always
about the number 99.
well. You're gonna have to tell me about it.
I
Is it
will.
going to spoil anything, or wait till we
Oh,
get
I
to it?
can't tell. No, I'll tell you when we get
Okay.
there.
Okay. The old people in the one music place, which I'm not getting into, but I'm just pointing out, reminds me a bit of the
Spoiler alert, they
again.
get naked.
Well, listen, shh. They remind me of because they're in this film a lot of the people on the street scenes and in some of the buildings they're ordinary people from the location that they shot this in, which I think was Prague, right? I didn't even the
Well, they
location.
did. They only filmed in Prague for 3 days, and that was the 3 days that they filmed with Barbara Bach. The outside scenes.
So I
They
think
did
a lot of those people were Italian then.
they did the interiors in Italy. No, they did the interior scenes in Italy. They did some good shots in Prague with Barbara Bach for a couple days, but the rest of the whole film was filmed in Slovenia.
Okay, there you go. That
You
that
should
makes sense too.
totally do that, Dave.
The late
Do
late
the
garden show.
late garden show with
Why not?
Dave
Go for it,
Pay.
Dave. Go for it. And yeah. Anyways,
I wrote it down because I look at
it
esoteric
was
things like
interesting.
that.
I'm trying not to be all over the place, but the shots were interesting because they were ordinary people thrown in this movie, and in their faces you can see kind of reminiscent of Rosemary's Baby. The
That they're almost
people,
like zombies.
yes. It just kind of, and there's kind of an occult kind of aspect to the movie, which makes it different in many different ways than most of the other giallos that we've seen. But he's basically telling the story as he's, and the doctors are saying, he still feels warm. His body temperature ain't going down.
And no rigor
Rigor
mortis.
mortis, rigor mortis is not setting in. So these are all things that are that are there, that are facts, but yet he seems to be dead because there's no heart. And we all know that black magic, voodoo, whatever, if you believe in certain
I
things
was
and
what were we talking about the other night? I just mentioned voodoo, that we were
I
always
don't
taught that it only has power if you believe in it. But when you see stuff like this, it's like maybe it has power whether you believe in it or not.
well, and is it an actual practicing of voodoo or is it some kind of drug, which
Right.
we know there are drugs that exist that can put you in a zombified state.
I have another
But
Seinfeld reference for this movie.
what's that?
The operating theater when they were doing
Yes,
the autopsy and the
Kramer,
Kramer and
the
the
junior
junior
mint.
mint, the junior mint.
Yeah.
I was wondering
Yeah.
if you would think of that.
Yeah, at the end. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But yeah, there's a scene in it. There's lots of Seinfeld references in here, I guess. But
Mm.
um, it is interesting that there are drugs that can cease your heart down to where you can't hear it, but you're not technically dead.
There was a movie, it was, Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford. I think it was called What
Okay.
Lies Beneath. When he was a scientist, Harrison Ford was a scientist, and he had made this drug that could paralyze your body and give the appearance of complete death.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie, so I'm
And
not
his
sure.
wife, he killed his wife because he was cheating on her with a
Oh
younger
yeah,
woman,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
wanted to get
yeah.
rid of his wife.
What is that movie? You don't remember the
Is
name?
it called What Lies Beneath?
I think you're right. Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Um, yes, that's exactly. So this is basically what it has, but the director Aldo Lato kind of plays this out with him throughout the entire movie on this table
Mhm.
and flashing back to the crimes that were committed, things that were happening, and things that led up to everything going on. With that said, I guess we can start talking about the movie. We can skip the
There's a jealous other woman in this movie who I was convinced was the killer,
Oh,
Janice.
yes, yes. We got Gregory Moore, of course, Mira, who's Barbara Bach, who she disappears very early on. She disappears, so we kind of figure out what's going on with her kind of later. And Jessica is also a journalist who evidently he has something going on with, played by Ingrid Thulin, and she's been in other movies
They
also.
made her look so unattractive in this movie. She's a beautiful woman, but they for some reason they made her look so unattractive, and like the thing wrapped around her head all the time, and they made her, it was like they were trying to make her look older or something.
Judy Gayhart. Um, I told you again. Let me say real quick: thumbs up if you like the stream or even like the channel, whatever. Give a subscribe, whatever. But uh, channel members, Patreon members get access to movie night. Movie nights every Friday night where we all get together and watch a movie and
You
on
gotta join the
Discord.
Discord. You gotta join the Discord.
Well,
The Discord's where it's at.
Judy Gayhart is asking, it would be fun to watch a movie together. Can we share a movie together? Judy, I think you just signed up on Patreon for the dollar level. Dollar a month will get you a movie night every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So yes,
And we can
definitely.
chat. We chat during the movie.
Yeah, so definitely check that out for sure. J.O.B. says Eagles. N.B. No, N.space.B. The chick from Dark Shadows is in this. Yes. So
Who? I didn't.
Jessica is also the other journalist, and we also got Jacques Versailles is another journalist. He's Gregory's friend, and throughout this movie, they kind of get together and try to solve things
I've seen him
until.
before. He looked familiar to me.
Yeah, he's kind of a bulky kind of guy with a big beard, and I'm a big hairy
Smokes a
guy.
big fat cigar all the time.
Yeah,
Always
yeah,
has a
he's a big hairy
cigar.
guy. Hey, Em, what's going on? Good to see you. So yeah, let's start talking about this movie. I did just talk about the very beginning, so I know you always take notes. So where should we go from there? Because we flash
First
right
of all,
to.
Prague is beautiful. I would love to go to Prague someday. It is a gorgeous old city. It's got those
Me
narrow
too.
cobblestone streets. It's beautiful.
I love it. Love the location. Let me
Oh,
say that too.
gorgeous.
Location, cinematography, uh, just the way the movie looks in
It
the
had that
locale.
kind of gothic look. Everything was kind of gray.
Yes, yes. Well, a lot of times I don't like that, but if it's set in the right location, like where they filmed all of this, the outside, fantastic. I mean, I loved it. Every little bit of it. I really enjoyed this movie, and it keeps you on the seat because the flashing back and forth constantly from him, his eyes wide open on the table, not moving. and then back to the scenes of what was going on and led him there are
Mhm.
just fantastic. But anyways, yeah. So
So we meet we meet Greg's coworker Janice, and it seems to me that she's insanely jealous of his girlfriend. She does not like her. She calls her a little bitch. Um she doesn't like her. She's insanely jealous, which makes me think maybe Janice is the one who's the killer.
right off
So
the bat,
yeah, she was so jealous. Like, why are you so jealous? Well, you could tell that they used to
you
have a
mean you
thing.
mean Jessica, right?
Jessica.
Yes, Jessica.
And Jessica tries to seduce him, and he's like, "Mm-mm." It was sad. She tried to throw herself at him, and he was like, "Mm."
Yeah, no, she's the one that made me seem like she could possibly be the killer because of the jealousy factor there.
Yeah,
But again, when it's so
right away,
obvious,
I was like, "Oh, she's super jealous. I bet you she's the one." But anyway,
but
he gets called away.
yeah, usually when it's that obvious that
It's
it's not.
not.
And Mike
Sometimes it
Barrett,
is, though, but sometimes it is
I
obvious. You
know,
never
I
know.
know, I know. Mike Barrett, I've only seen this one once, you're twice. Or twice, but it's been years. Remember it being not one of my favorites, of course, because I like it, Mike Barrett. Usually the ones I like, you say, but no. Anyways, very good movie, very memorable movie.
We're all entitled to our opinions,
Uh,
Dino.
exactly. But I'm stating a fact that out of all these movies, this has a premise and setup that's so different than most of the other ones
They
that
could have done so much more with it, is all I'm gonna say. They could have done so much more with this gimmick
what?
thing.
They kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. They went back and forth, constantly moving the story along. There's no like, slowing up of the story and the
Oh,
pace.
Dino, gonna have to
Really?
disagree with you there, pal.
Okay.
I wrote
Okay.
it down.
Yeah, visit Czechoslovakia. Yeah. Yawn. No, I don't get that. I really don't, because I think the fact of how they did it and going back and
When he
forth.
was going around looking for other girls who disappeared, it was so boring. It was boring.
Okay,
This movie was
well,
only this was a short movie. It was only like an hour and 36, 37 minutes, something like that.
yeah.
But it
It
dragged.
could have been a contender.
Could have been a contender.
Ian Sharp was,
Stella! We were just talking about Seinfeld.
yes. Okay. This was better than most. Thank you, Ian Sharp. But
I'm trying to remember what Ian Sharp said about our movie last week. I believe he liked it. He said it was a
yes,
7.5, I believe.
yes, right on point with me. Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So
So
he gets
yes,
called away. He gets called away, and I knew right away. The boyfriend gets called away. His beautiful girlfriend, she gives him this mounted thing of butterflies in a frame,
yes.
and she says this butterfly doesn't fly.
This species of butterfly do not fly, but they dance about so happily on the ground. So it's just a different species of butterfly, and I guess it comes into place somehow with the cult towards the end.
Well, it's a
So
connection between when they showed the butterflies later. I was like, well, she must be connected to this because that's exactly what she gave to her boyfriend.
yes, exactly. Hello, Colonel Crypto and Emily.
Ian, as I just said, we are all entitled to our opinions,
But
sir.
mine's more important. Good to see you guys, Emily and Colonel Cripple. Oh, overnight tonight too. You guys will have an all-night stream of the Whistler. Thought it was
He'll
about time
never get
for.
that tune right. I wish he could just get the tune right.
Well, it is what it is. But the stories are fantastic. So the end
Those
timestamp.
stories you had last night, Dino, that last night's stream was so good. It
Most of
was
them
stuff
were
that I
very.
never even heard of before. That was so good.
If you haven't heard last night's stream, a lot of the first episodes, the first half was Man from Homicide, but then there were some other rare kind of. I ended with Mr. Feathers, and that was from That was a Canadian show, and
Oh, you betcha.
only one. Yes, you betcha. Only one exists. So
That stuff was
ho-
really good, and
hopefully you guys
without this
enjoyed it.
channel, I probably wouldn't even ever have found out that that stuff existed. I
There you
never heard of
go.
it before.
There you go. So anyways, moving on. Yes, so they're there with the butterfly, and somebody mentioned, I seem to keep coming across this throughout a lot of what people were saying about this movie, that there was kind of a tone about it, or they were trying to push the fact of older men and younger females throughout the film. I don't know if
I
I
didn't get that at all. There's other
well
ones that I've seen that, but not this one.
well, I mean, listen, Gregory Moore was an older guy with Barbara Bach, her character. There were some. The killer was, yeah. Again, the cult kind of plays a little role in what they're doing,
Mhm.
and the younger women, because there are younger women that start going missing.
Dino, I hope you have a really good grasp on what this whole concept is with this occult, because they try to like explain it at the end, and I was like, I'm gonna need Dino to explain that to me because they gave you all this information all at once, and I was like, what? What? I don't
Well,
get. You're gonna need
yeah,
to explain that to me because I did not get it at all.
and one of the
I also
characters.
took algebra 4 times, so you know.
Well, you're better than I am then. But anyways, and there
No,
is
I
a
mean I kept
character.
flunking it. I kept flunking it, so I had to
There
take
is.
it 4 times
Oh, okay. So
because
that
I don't
wasn't
get
good.
it.
No, I don't get algebra either. But
Okay.
anyways, math in general. Listen, I can count, but what? Unless I'm an engineer, I don't really need anything else. There's a guy named Valinsky that comes into play in this movie.
Very creepy.
Um, yeah, it's very creepy, and he's ends up he's the leader of this kind of secret society. I'll just leave it there. But also
Seth
throughout,
asked. Seth is asking, what does the occult practice? We will tell you when we get there. Yes, they do name it. We'll tell you when we get there.
yes, and a lot of the people involved or shown in the movie, even the cops, even Jessica, seem to be involved in this kind of cult.
Yep.
So you're kind of left guessing many times, like, oh, this person, who's actually doing it. So I think that was done very well with the red herrings. But again, when you got a cult behind what's going on, there are going to be more than one person involved, and that's where this, when it comes to Giallo format, kind of differs from maybe a lot of the other ones, especially the ones that are just outright slasher Giallo films. This
So say
one,
that again. What is it that sets this apart?
the occult
The
aspect,
occult thing.
where the killers technically, this movie has lots of Giallo elements, but it doesn't really involve the killer as of you know the general Giallo killer with the
With the
gloves,
black gloves and the
um,
mask over the face and the
trench
trench
coat, mask.
coat.
There's no killer really technically shown,
Mm.
except for the one guy who's on the bridge, and you can really see that it's the cop that's following him around that pushes this dude off the bridge.
Oh, I
But
didn't
anyway,
see.
oh, you
It was
see the
all in
blue shirt.
shadow. I didn't
Oh
notice
no, oh yeah, you see the blue
because I
shirt,
had
everything.
set it up to 1.25.
Oh geez, see, that's what I'm talking about. But that, I think that's kind of what sets it apart, because the occult aspect, you've got maybe one, two, who knows how many killers, how many people are really actually working for and killing these girls, or even other people for the cult. And when we get to it and talk about Gregory's, Barbara Bach's character, his girlfriend, uh, is she dead too, or what the heck? Anyways, we'll get to it. We'll
Dino, do
get
you
to
know
it.
what they say in this movie? He says it one time. I bet you caught it, but he says this word one time at the beginning of the movie. And I'm like, why would he say that? And at the end of the movie, you get why he used that word.
Okay. What was the
Body
word?
snatchers. Body snatchers.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
when he brought his girlfriend to meet everybody, he left her alone because he wanted to go talk to one of his colleagues or something. And when he went
Yeah.
back to go get her, he said to his friend, "Let me go back to her before the body snatchers get her," because it was like a bunch of old people and she didn't fit in.
Right, right. And
But at
that
the end of
should
the
fit
movie, it is almost like body snatchers.
a little bit. Yeah. But the that takes us to the party that's going on, right?
Well,
That's where
there's
we're
two
kind
parties. There's one party that was super boring. It was like a bunch of old people sitting around listening to somebody play the piano. I was like, "Oh my god, where's the vodka?"
well, and again, that's kind of a foreshadowing to
Mhm.
the secret society. But there's another party, right?
Yes.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
Okay, when he gets called away, back at the morgue, his friend comes
This
to
oh,
identify his body. Ivan is his friend, and he says there's no rigidity. And all of a sudden, they mention, Dino, is this uncommon?
what's that?
He's at the morgue, and someone who he knew, the guy who we presume is dead, someone who he knew comes to identify him, and he turns out to be the surgeon, Ivan. And Ivan knows him from when they were both at the Sorbonne.
Yeah.
Whatever. He mentions that. But suddenly Yvonne says, let's try to reanimate him. And I was like, what? What is that
Oh, this
something that they
comes up.
just do at the morgue when they're just like, oh, let's try to bring him back to life? Is that normal?
Listen, I've never heard anything like that before in my life. I think it's
But
just
his
for
body
the
was still warm and there was no rigidity. And he was like, well, let's try to bring him back to life. And I was like, what?
well, I'll tell you a couple things here. First of all, hello, Rosalia. Good to see you tonight. Anita Green. Heidi ho, everyone. Mike Barrett also, he says, I prefer this, his other one, Who Saw Her Die, but I will have to give this another go. Again, I put this up there because you said you're not real sure on this one because it's been so long. So I get, and then you said you need to see this one again. But the one Who Saw Her Die is his second film that Aldo Lotto did, and if it's anything near this or even better, then yeah, I think I'm going to watch that one very soon. Um, with that said, when his friend, the doctor or surgeon, comes in to identify his body, I don't think I've ever read a case or any such thing where they come in to identify the body, and just because he's a doctor, why is the body still warm? Why is rigor mortis not setting in? I think we should do everything possible to bring him back to life. Only Frankenstein would say that, right? I mean, it is very interesting that he would say that.
And he tries a
Um,
couple things and he still ends up putting him in the fridge. So
the coroner was confused, Ian Sharp says. Well, and that's my point. Um, what would you do in that situation, where everything shows that the heart stopped beating, you know, and but the body's not got rigor mortis setting in, the
and
temperature's
no one
there.
tried to close his eyes. Always in the movies, when a person
I
dies
know.
with their eyes open, somebody closes their eyes. Never once did anybody go to close his eyes. So his eyes were
Because
wide open.
it would take away from the movie immediately.
Yeah.
Because the surgeon does say, how come nobody's closed his eyes? But then doesn't close his eyes. So it is interesting that
Oh,
he
look who's here.
yeah, I see Blue walking back there. Hey, Blue.
She's had a
Um,
good 2 days. She hasn't had a seizure in 2 days.
for the good. Oh,
She had
nice.
3 in one day, and now it's been 2 days. She hasn't had one.
Well, that's
Anyway.
a good sign. Anyways, yeah. Okay, so the party, or go on where you want. Where'd we leave off here?
Um, Jessica, his spurned coworker, comes to help him find Mira. The police find a dead girl at the river, and they assume it's Mira, but Greg goes and says that's not her, and he just walks
Okay,
away.
yeah, you left. Yeah, so okay. Um, to get back to before that, slightly before that, the Gregory and Mara are there. They make love.
They walk around the
Smoking.
city. It's beautiful.
They're in his apartment laying down on the bed, and he gets called away by his journalist friend, which
Jack.
I never understood this part of the movie, why he had to get up out of bed and go meet Jacques Versailles.
So that they could get Mira out of his apartment.
If Jacques Versailles was not involved, we know that.
No, but someone, whoever was the killer, called Jack and said, I have a tip for you, but you have to come down here to this,
Oh,
whatever
no,
that place
not that
was.
point, not that part. I'm talking about right before Mara goes missing. He ends up leaving and meeting
I know what
Jacques.
you're talking about. They had to get him out of the apartment so that they could get Mira out. Someone must have called Jack because he was a journalist.
Yeah. They call Jacques.
Whoever the killer was, or someone who's in on this conspiracy, called Jack and said, "Hey, call your friend and tell him." And then they knew he was going to be in the phone booth because as soon as he gets off the phone later, that was
No,
later. I know that was later. All
that's
right,
later.
that was later.
Okay, so getting back to what
But
I was
somebody
saying.
called because they had to get him away. I don't think his friend was involved. I don't think he was involved.
No, he wasn't involved. Jacques wasn't involved because later on he ends up getting it. Okay, spoiler. Jacques gets it in the phone booth a little bit later when he does call him.
But I think that someone else called Jack to tell him to call his friend and
Can I
tell him.
stick to this scene? Because
No, it was this one. I'm still talking about this first one. The first one, not the phone booth one.
Okay, I guess you need me to say this because you're confused a bit.
All right.
My point being that Gregory and Mara are in bed making love. They fall asleep. Gregory gets a phone call. It's from Jacques, and it's about information on a case or something. He makes him get dressed and leave the apartment to go to this place,
a cafe or something.
Cafe where it's nighttime, the middle of the night, which I thought was very cool too. That it was middle of the night on the street. They're just drinking, I love the whole scene. It was so like beatnik.
European. It was so European.
Yeah, it was so European beatnik, like 60s. The guy even playing in the back on the guitar, it was all
that
beatnik.
Terrible song. It was very beatnik.
And the blonde girl. And I got to get back to the party in a second too. That would happen right before this. But he drives down there to talk to Jacques, who says he needed to come there. Why did he need to leave the apartment, come there and talk to Jacques for a little tip that he told me? He said, hey, here's some information that I think you need to know. It literally took 30 seconds, and Jacques said, okay, I'll see you later. He went back in the car and drove away. When he gets back, Mira's gone.
But all her stuff is there. All her stuff is there.
Right. My point being in that whole discussion there that I just said was, why did he have to leave the apartment? If Jacques was not involved, and he isn't, why did he call him? Why couldn't he just say over the phone, hey, here's the tip. This is what you need to know. I'll see you in the morning.
And why didn't oh my God, what's the boyfriend's name?
What do you mean, Jessica?
Alex, the main guy. Why didn't he just say, man, my girlfriend just got into town. Like, we're in bed. Like, why can't you just tell me over the phone? He was immediately like, oh, I'll be right there. I'm like, why? Why do you have to go?
You mean Gregory?
Gregory. I said Alex. Gregory.
What is going on with
boyfriend?
You tonight? What the heck? So, yes, he comes back. Okay, and before I describe the scene in the apartment, there's a party prior to that, the wild party that we were talking about, where it was so weird. And this is where it may be a foreshadowing of things later on, but there was a blonde girl there who was leaning against a wall.
And she looked like a zombie.
She looked like a zombie. Her eyes were open, and Jack, I think it was touching her all up and going, she's fun. She's a fun one. But the girl was just zombified looking out, which leads me to believe that young girls are being poisoned with some kind of thing that causes them to, I mean,
At
she
the end
wasn't
of
in
the
this.
movie, they said something about bait, and I need you to explain that to me. Like I said, I don't get the
When we get
premise.
to it. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Bait? Can you put that together?
When we get to it, we'll talk about it. But okay, so I had to mention that because it's a part of the movie that is kind of weird and creepy, but it does lend towards the occult and the black magic side of things and whatever they gave them. They're giving these young girls something, but she was seen afterwards. I think she was the girl that ended up killed.
Yeah, she ended up killed, but
So
she danced. We saw her moving. She was dancing.
yeah. So that all went on. So he goes back to the apartment and he sees that Mara's missing. Everything's still there in all the same place. So she must have left the apartment in the nude. I mean, I don't know. That's what they're saying. I think somebody would have noticed a nude girl walking out of the apartment, and so who knows who took her and how they took her. I mean, we find out kind of at the end a little bit of what's going on, but she's nude out there somewhere. And
Connie said the other reporter reminded her of Wolfman Jack. He did remind you a little bit of Wolfman Jack.
yeah, Wolfman Jack. Mhm.
Ow!
Yeah, he did, because he was a hairy man. He certainly
So
was.
let's talk about the man in the greenhouse who is demonstrating that tomatoes feel pain.
And you know what? 100% agree that plants, they're actually scientific studies, real ones, Ginger, real scientific studies that showed this was done. I've heard this from people on Art Bell's show, like scientists who really, I wish I could pull
Let
it
me
up.
open up my mind real quick.
Yeah, no, open it up. They did
Because my mind
experiments.
is so closed.
Yeah, no, they did experiments, basic experiments with like music. Like they had
I
plants
do remember that.
growing, one with soft, soothing
I told you
sound.
Leonard Nimoy did an episode of In Search of about that.
But the plant, they had like electrodes to the leaves, and because plants are living things. I mean, that's a fact. Uh, and the other one, then they would do heavy metal music to them, and you would get a whole different like agitation state, like needles going like that and showing really wild. And the plants with the soothing music grew faster and better than the other ones. And when branches broke or leaves were plucked off, you could see through the instruments that they had that there were like
He
spikes.
was really abusing those tomatoes.
I mean, I'm not saying that there was actual pain being felt. I think
There
that's
was
something.
sensation.
There was something happening. Okay, that's all I'll say. Pain, I don't know, because pain is something that's a human thing that gives off this chemical reaction and things and nerves and to the brain. You feel it. It's a whole different thing. But who's to say that other living things in different ways don't feel pain? Even if we talk about alien species and stuff like that, which is for another show, Paranormal Into the Night or something like that. But yes, no. So, but yes, to get back to that scene, the scientist was shooting a needle through the tomato and showing how it's feeling pain. So yeah,
And
very
I knew that
interesting.
that would come back later. Of course, that's going to come back later.
Yeah.
His friend Yvonne tries to revive him again. The police tell him and Jessica to stop interfering with their investigation.
Oh, and that cop, yeah. I don't know if that was a Prague thing or or just you American
He's not very
journalist.
nice.
Yeah, he said you American journalist. Well, or he's in on it too. That's the thing. I was
Yeah.
thinking that everybody was into it because people
These
were
creepy
throwing up.
cult movies are always like that. The whole town knows. Everybody knows about it.
Yes, yes. They always seem to, yeah, somehow have everybody involved. And in this movie, they do the same thing.
So there's some creepy dude reading a newspaper. He pays this little kid to go tell somebody something, and there's some creepy dude leaning against the wall, looking suspicious as all get out, reading a newspaper, and he's watching as Gregory's talking. He watches him, and then we see him later. He's basically following Gregory. Who is that guy?
He's just a police officer that's set there to follow him.
And he's
And he's
reading a newspaper called Rue de Pravo, which means Red
Need to see more.
Justice. It was the official newspaper of the Communist Party in Czechoslovakia at that time. That's what he was reading. And then they go to this place with a bunch of dogs, and I felt so sorry for those dogs. What was that?
Oh, yeah. Listen, the whole dog scene with, first of all, yes, we'll talk about the dogs and the blind man. If a prune tree does that make me if I prune a tree, does that make me a bad person if they can feel pain? Well, I mean, the question is, J.O.B.
Is it
Does
pain
does the tree feel pain?
or just
And
sensation?
yeah, and if listen, you're doing fine, because actually we find out that some, just like we get haircuts, some plants need trimmed down and pruned and to thrive and to get more life and oxygen. So no, you're not doing a bad thing in my eyes. Even if there's a little bit of pain, you need your fingers trimmed down to the, oh, I can't, no, it hurts me, but it's good for you. You need that done. So anyways, you can say the same thing for teeth. If you pull somebody's tooth out, yes, it's going to hurt, but sometimes it's for the better because it's rotting, right?
And you can
And
die from that. I think you can get sick and die from leaving like a bad
yes, you
tooth in your mouth.
can. T many Martunis. Okay, so getting back to the and thanks everybody for all the chanting there going on. I am reading it and seeing it and doing all that other good stuff with it. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, getting
So
back
you
to
find it has to be that there are people in on this, because Jessica
oh yeah,
tells him, and then somebody else tells him that Mira had been planning to go to Moscow, and she didn't tell him that. But people keep
right,
saying, "Oh yeah,
right.
she was talking about she was planning to go to Moscow," and he's like, "No, she wasn't. She would have told
No,
me that."
Mira's involved with the occult somehow, we end up finding out. And again, spoilers galore, this is a discussion. So John Cappuccini, what's going on, John? Good to see you, my friend. So the dog scene. Gregory goes, he's on the lookout, him and Jessica. They're all trying to figure out where Mira is. So they're all doing some digging, which the police don't like. But he ends up going to where the first dead girl that they found lived. And he's trying to find out connections and what's going on. And it's this little building too. It's very weird. But at this building is this blind guy who walks around, and evidently he takes care of 1,000 dogs. And I'm like, how in the hell is this dude taking care of 1,000 dogs? Because he's blind. How is he cleaning up the poop, feeding, cleaning, walking? That was just a misrepresentation of what should be done.
Yeah,
When
I didn't
taking,
like that. That scene really made me sad. I felt really sorry for those
well,
dogs.
listen, sad aside, it just didn't make any sense unless that young girl did most of the work, which I don't think was the what was going on there. But nevertheless, he goes there to the house, and he finds out something about there was a violin in there, music.
And then all
So
the missing girls played the chamber music.
yeah, which goes back to this. There's always some kind of academy or some singing, like either whether it's a dance place, like in again, it's some kind of secret
performing
society.
arts or something.
Yeah, it's a secret society where
Mhm.
there's always like recitals going on with violins and cellos, all that good stuff. And I guess this is how they kind of lure the young girls in to
Do whatever it is that
do.
they're doing.
Yes.
So then we see, this is what I think we were talking about. He goes to see an old man or something, and he's on this like footpath bridge, and he sees this old man walking toward him, and the old man is blind, I think. He's holding onto the railing, and someone just comes running up and just flips the old man over into the water. And
It's
he
the
hit, or
cop.
no, it's train tracks. He hits the train tracks.
Yeah, he gets pushed off of the bridge down onto the dirt. And this is where it looks like they're trying to implicate.
Implicat.
Wait, hold on. Grandmother's family died in a big hurricane that hit in the early 1990s. Rich Cat lives in the South too. She's a super sweet person. Haven't seen Rich Cat in a while. Hopefully Richard is still doing good. Much love. Cyberpup, what's going on? Yeah, pushes him over. But I noticed right away that the person that pushed him over that bridge, the old guy, was the cop that was with the newspaper.
And see, I
Because
didn't get.
well,
If
you
I
stop.
watched it again, if I watch it again, maybe I would.
Oh, without a doubt. If you stop the frame and press pause, you see the blue shirt, you see his face. They didn't hide it. Unless you saw a very dark copy on YouTube or something like that. It's so.
Did Gregory know who it was?
Who?
Gregory.
Oh, Gregory. No,
Did he
no,
know who it
because
was? Well, I didn't
because
either.
he pushed him off and he ran away. But I'm like going, dude, that's the cop, and he's running away now. But he went down there, and then
It could have
some
been
guy
somebody
came
who
out.
wanted you to think it was the cop.
No,
No, it was the cop. It was the cop.
Yeah, it was a cop. You
Okay.
pause and it's a cop. Dino, Kathy said Richard is getting there. He's doing more.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I noticed Rich Cat's up and doing videos and stuff again. So hopefully he's doing well. Thank you, Connie.
So
Cops were
the old
protecting the car.
man,
Yep.
the old man, Greg runs over to him. He's like, "Oh my God." And he runs over to him, and the old man keeps saying something about butterflies, and they don't fly. They don't fly. And I'm like, who is this old man, and what is he talking about? Which the girlfriend
Well,
had seen this species of butterfly that doesn't fly.
yeah.
But
They're
who
just
was this
talking.
old man?
The old man was the you're talking about the old man that was the person with the dogs?
No, the one that fell on the tracks. And he kept
Yeah.
saying, they don't fly, they don't fly.
Oh, because okay, because he was an informant that was going to talk about the society or whatever, and he was
And
pushed off.
Greg leans over and pulls something out of his pocket. Pulls
Yes.
something out of the old man's pocket, and it says
Yes.
Heidelini Club, which means music club, Club 99. And that number 99, I learned something.
There you go.
So then
Okay.
Greg just walks away. There's an old man who's dead or dying on the railroad tracks, and somebody else comes, and Greg is like, "Okay, I gotta go," and he just leaves.
Well, and that's where he kind of starts to figure out that something's going on at that place, that Club 99 or whatever, and that's the place where the recitals are at and all that. And
meanwhile, they're still trying
secret
to
society.
reanimate Greg. Greg is still thinking about this stuff, and
Oh,
at the
they
actual morgue, they're trying to reanimate him.
Yes, they keep going back and
Mhm.
forth, where again, it's very cool where he's laying on the slab with his eyes still open, going, they don't see me. What are they doing?
And I can't move.
Yeah. And again, they put a shot of something in the heart to try to animate it, whatever the drug is, they don't even say. They try to shock him. Everything they could do to try to shock somebody back to life with CPR and everything. And it just all nothing was helping, so yeah.
So then he flashes back again, and he goes to that music society, and there's a recital going on, and he stumbles into a room that's full of butterflies framed butterflies, just like the one that his girlfriend gave him.
I think the old man wandered in through the emergency exits. Let's see him. Yeah, I don't know why it's eluding me right now, but anyways, it doesn't matter. 99 Luft balloons go by. Freaky. Yeah, this movie it's a good one. It's a little different, and you can call it freaky, whatever. But yeah, definitely very, very cool. And where were we at? I'm
He
sorry.
finds a room full of butterflies mounted in frames, just like the one Mira gave him.
Yes.
And then some man comes and beats him with a cane and chases him, calls him a non-member.
This
And
is
then we
back at
see
Club
Mira.
99.
Yeah, and then we see Mira. He finds her. He sees her or something.
Mira, yes.
And she's stiff,
Well,
but her eyes are open, just like Greg. So I don't know what's going on.
Are you talking about Mira in the club?
Yes. He stumbles
Yes.
into the room full of butterflies, and then we see Mira.
Yeah, there's glimpses, and it's weird. There's glimpses of Mira throughout. One of them is her in this club, alive. Oh, no, she's dead. She's in a room set aside, supposedly dead. This is okay. A little bit confusing. This is where they kind of try to
Because
throw
they
you
keep
off.
going back and forth.
Yeah, because Mira, whenever they do show her, she's not alive. There's an ending scene where it looks like she's alive. We'll get to that when we get to it. But the scenes prior to it, like this one, when he's looking about and in the one room, she's just laying there naked over like kind of wreaths or some kind of thing.
Some kind of greenery.
Yeah, a lot of greenery. This movie is very similar to an Alfred Hitchcock episode, He's Still Alive, Breakdown. You may have seen it. Yes, John Cappuccini. It's very Alfred
It does
Hitchcock
seem very Hitchcockian.
So, yes, I have to check out Breakdown because I haven't seen Breakdown. Some surreal stuff going on in the club. Yes, Ian Sharp. I would call the movie in general surreal, especially everything revolving around the secret society. Is she going to be sacrificed?
It's not that. It seems like that, but it's not a sacrifice, actually. Is it? Do you think it's a sacrifice, Dino?
Well, and Mike Barrett, I think, is throwing out the ending real quick, and we'll try to get through the movie without spoilers, but something happens at the end, of course. But so stuff is going down.
Dino's going to explain it because I didn't get it. Dino has to explain it to me.
Again, I'll try. Let's get
So
to
then
the end.
some blind man approaches Greg's friend and mentions a club that they were talking about. He says, "My name is Profsky, Corporal Profsky." I don't know why he had to say that. And he basically tells Jack about this club, Club 99, and that people are aware that there's some weird things that go on there.
There's a scene where he's
been looking for his coworker Jessica. Well, she's been looking for him. He goes back home and his landlady says hi to him and he doesn't even say anything to her. And you can tell she likes him. And she's like, "Have I offended you?" And I was like, that was so mean of him to not even say hi to her. Jessica's waiting for him in his apartment.
Well, she's in on it.
He's like, "How did you get in here?" And she said, "Someone's watching you. Look outside. Someone's watching." And he looks down there and the guy's looking up at him. So there's definitely someone watching him.
Cop with the blue shirt.
She tells Greg, "I can get you on a priority flight to London. And if you want, I can go with you." And then they make out. Like his girlfriend is missing.
Yes. Yes, I'm still very sad to Cyberpup. RTN. Hi, Boy Donuts. Donald Duck Apple Juice. Yep.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. You can't hear me?
Right, you. I can't hear you.
I don't understand why. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can't.
Okay, well, figure out why you
can't. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me? I can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me? You guys should be able to hear me. I would hope so.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, where he plays a murderous uncle in a crazy film.
It's my buds. It's my earbuds.
Oh no, someone dies in the end. Anita Green. Yeah, we'll get to it. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you on the other one.
Okay. Oh, it's your.
I can hear you on the other one.
Yeah, her buds have died. But
I'm gonna
yeah,
have to
very
take these out. It's
confusing.
broken.
And I don't even think we got to the part where uh, his friend does end up dying.
I can hear you now.
Okay, can you? Yeah, and I think we're getting to the second part where Jacques does call him up.
From a phone
Aren't we?
booth.
Yeah, a phone booth. And again, the scene walking through the streets, reminiscent of Don't Look Now, too, the Donald Sutherland American Giallo film, which, again, one of the best that I've seen. One of them, definitely
I
in
would
my
like to
top
see
10.
it. I would like to
Uh,
see that.
it's definitely a good one. But he comes down there, and yes, Jacques ends up being killed, right? This is where we're at. Bad
Yes.
buds. Robin05, what is going on? Shadow of a Doubt. Good to see everybody in the chat. Be sure to hit that thumbs up. Please and thank you. Much
He
appreciated.
goes, so Jack tells him, I'm outside of this music place or whatever. You have to come down here. And so he goes, and as soon as he hangs up the phone, somebody comes into the phone booth with a knife. So we know Jack's not going to make it.
No.
So he runs down there. By the time he gets there, Jack is gone. And then he just starts walking around. And this is when we see that stupid street musician singing that stupid song about butterflies with beautiful wings fly in the clear sky. It was terrible.
What? It wasn't a bad song. There's a hippie group of people. What you would call them back in the day is like folk singers. They were folk
Yes.
singers who would hang around and sing about the government and the wrongdoings of the lower class
And how we need to love one another.
and it was a really kind of a really cool vibe thing going. In my opinion, I thought it was kind of cool. And the guy wasn't bad singing it, but Gregory ends up sitting on the bridge there. And thank God there was water down below because he ends up really quickly. Somebody comes up when he's not looking and takes his legs and throws him over into the water.
And nobody notices.
Nobody notices. Yeah, unless I don't think they're in on it. But really quick,
be.
Emily, I like to say that Denny RTN is always in the chat. He will always be here in the chat in some way or another. One of these days, maybe a little thing will pop up, and we'll go, "What the heck happened there?" I think he's still sticking around. But anyways.
So he gets at the police. He goes to the police and they wrap him in a blanket. And the policeman.
He starts acting really weird from this point forward, right?
Well, the policeman tells him, you injected Mira with morphine and you overdosed her and you had to get rid of her body and admit it, you're a drug addict. I mean, you fell over into the river and it was terrible.
No, somebody pushed me, man. What's wrong with you?
And he says, we're going to put you on trial and we're going to send you for the strongest electroshock therapy there is, which is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, what a thing to say. That I mean, he's trying him and, letting him know exactly what's going to happen to him right away. And he didn't even really do anything. But
one of the men from the Club 99, comes in and says, he'll take care of Greg. I'll take care of him.
That was Valinsky. Yeah. The leader of this secret society, which we come to find out about. And
he takes Greg home, though. He takes him home.
Well, he does. And why does he do that? Because they're still trying to implicate him. And there's a scene where, and again, he's acting like whatever is going on with him is already starting to happen. Like there's some kind of black magic or some kind of drug in him.
It's like I said, it looks like he's on a bad trip. Like he's having a really bad trip. He's like imagining stuff and.
Yes, and it's not from the fall in the river. He's starting to act weird.
And we see Mira in his fridge. Was she really in his fridge?
Well, what he thought happened, I mean, they probably put the body in there to freak him out. There was a gun
right
there
on top
too.
of the lettuce.
Yeah, and there was a gun that fell out.
Yes,
which
and
I don't
conveniently there was a gun there.
Which I don't know if she was dead or not, but did they want him to get his fingerprints on the gun? I don't
Did they
know,
want him
because
to kill himself because they left a gun there and he was sticking the gun in his mouth?
yeah. So that was going on. So you're not really sure. Not really
And then
sure.
the police come and he gets scared, even though he was about to blow his head off. He gets scared and he jumps out the window.
Yeah, real quick. No, Cyber Pup. It's good to talk about people in the chat. Dennis, guys can talk about them all you want, man. I was so torn up that night. It's not even believable. I was crying. It was not a good night, even to the next morning when I talked to my kids. Yes, they know who Denny was. It's still, even now, just thinking of him. But again, I'm trying. I'm. The light is coming, and I'm like, he wants everybody to be happy. We are saddened by his loss, but he's feeling less pain. He's here with us. I do believe. I know that. I talked to him quite a few times the last month or two. So everybody, we will always remember him, at least on this channel. You will always get a high boy donut in the chat, a Donald Duck apple juice. You will always hear me every now and then say something about Dennis RTN. So there you go. Anyway, so yes, I hear you, Cyber Pup. Anyways, the whole thing was to make him go mad, Mike Barrett. Right, and that's why he tried maybe to commit suicide a little bit. But again, I think the drug was working on him too, on top of it. And thus, I think, brings us towards the end. But where are we at, Ginger, from
The
here?
policeman tells Jessica and all these other reporters that Greg definitely killed Mira and Jack. And Jessica's like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That I don't really believe it. But the cop is like, oh, he went crazy and he was on drugs and he killed those people. I'm like,
Yeah.
you just decided that he's guilty, period. He's just guilty.
In the sandwich of life, let us stick together. Good one, CM. Love it.
So then we see the autopsy theater where I thought of the Junior Mint scene from Seinfeld.
Because what's going to happen here is after the trying to reanimate him, they have this bright idea, or the one guy does, who's
In the
involved.
society, he's in it.
Oh, hey, please hit the thumbs up. We got 44 thumbs up. Let's get them up. Thank you very much. Please and thank you. I think I might upgrade went through, but my email didn't work on the Discord. Judy, I'll check it. And I will also send you a link to the Discord. So look out in your email, Judy, a little bit later. So yes, the one doctor who is involved in the secret society, he's kind of got these big Coke bottle glasses. And he says, well, how about I got a class tomorrow? You know how they always do. What's that class called? Where the students
Anatomy.
also,
Anatomy.
yeah, anatomy, where they, and they're going to see the body be opened up and all that. He goes, I can use the cadaver for my anatomy class. What a great idea. And it's funny because,
is it because he wants to make sure the guy actually dies, or is it because he's just weird?
Well, I think because he actually wants him to die. But before the ending of the movie, he gets he's going, oh no, you hear his voice saying, no, don't. So I'm sorry, got thrown off a little bit there. He goes back to his memories.
Greg sneaks into the club and we see the man who's been watching him. And then this is where we get the room with all the old people dancing around naked, I think.
Yes, because he makes his way back into the secret society, the place where they do the recitals and all that. And he works his way into the back where there is some kind of wild cultist, whatever, occult orgy going on with all these old people who are part of the secret society. And on the table who is going to be sacrificed is a young
Mi-
female,
It's
and they
Mira.
think it's Mara. Well,
It is
Gregory.
it?
Well, at first, Gregory looks from a distance and sees that it is Mara, but as he walks through the everybody, hold on, sky anomalies. I'm still standing. To who is this? Who is this? Leanne Richey changing your name? I'm still standing too. So sorry to hear about Denny. Thoughts and well wishes, all survivors these days. Well, hey, if you're not, I only say Leanne Richey because it's a long name, but thank you, Sky Anomalies. Manischwitz Mike, what's going on? So what ends up happening is he starts to walk closer to her, and when he gets to the table where the girl's laid out, it's a different girl.
I
It's
didn't
not her.
notice that.
Yes, it's a different girl. So Mara was not the one on the table. Whether that was because the hallucinations were coming in, or with the drug, but no. If you re-look at it, you'll notice. No, LOI am normally a lurker. Okay, Sky Anomalies. It's because she usually has a name with a dash and a longer name. But good to see you chiming in and giving your respects to Denny. Thank
This
you
is
so
where
much.
he says all this stuff about how they're using the girls for bait or something. This
You
is the
mean
part that I don't.
Gregory?
At this sacrifice or whatever that they're getting ready to do, that I thought it was Mira. That's
Valinsky and
when
the
they all
other
start
elder.
talking about what they're doing, and he's like, "We use these girls for bait, and we'll." This is when it reminds me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because he's like, "We've
Okay.
always done this, and we're always going to do this," and something about they use the girls for bait to bring people to the society or something. I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Well, it's one of those things that most cults do.
So
At least
all these girls that have gone missing around the city, it's been this cult taking them for
these sacrifices for the greater good of what you would consider a satanic cult, but there's no mention or even symbolism of a satanic cult in this
they
movie.
just say black magic.
Yeah, they say black magic,
Because
which
it's just like, you don't need to give a reason, it's just black magic. It makes no sense.
well, again, yeah, I mean, how deep do you go into this? They don't go deep enough into the secret society to let you know exactly what's going on. There's these words spoken by each of the members at the end while this sacrifice and this ceremony is going on, which kind of just reference, like, the divine being again. There was no reference to Lucifer or anything like that, but to an evil being of sorts, a demon, or in most cases, most likely Satan. But
This is where that number 99 comes in. This is what I learned about the number 99. This satanic, this black magic thing cult that they're in, they call it Club 99.
yes,
And I found out that
thank you, Sky.
I wrote it down, that 99 symbolizes completion, perfection. Jack tells him in the phone booth, he says they're in this club, it's called Club 99, and the number 99 is like the word amen. It means complete, finished. And I was like, I never knew that, and I looked it up, and it's true. Because, sometimes these Giallo movies make stuff up, and I have to look it up, like, is that really true? But it's true. The number 99 has a symbolism to it, and I never knew. And I can't find where I wrote it down.
Thank you, Manischwitz Mike. Absolutely love the show. You guys are unbelievable. Thank you so much for what you do. I appreciate it. 999 is inverse of 666. Yes, it is. But
But we're talking
99,
about 99, though.
numbers do have relevance, and Ginger's trying to find it. But 1111. Should I do a quick look?
No, I got it. I got it. Because I looked it up last night.
Okay. So what is it? Okay.
I'm looking. I thought you would know because you catch
I
stuff
didn't
like that.
I didn't get into, what was going on there, really with the
Well, they
99.
mentioned it's Club 99, and it says the number 99 is a powerful number with a lot of symbolism. It's
Yeah.
associated with the completion of cycles.
Which makes sense, when it
Mhm.
comes to cults. So they're performing a ritual which needs to come full circle with the ceremony that they are doing and the sacrifice which comes at the end. Thus, going over and over and over again, constantly having sacrifice after sacrifice to please the ancient one, whoever
Yeah.
he may be, the deity that is keeping their society going
And that
and
number
bringing it.
99, it means like they accomplished something. Like this is the end of a cycle and now we have to begin a new cycle and we just keep doing this, the number 99 forever.
Right, exactly,
Which is what you
exactly.
just said, yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And anyways, so
7 feet. I wish we had 7 feet of snow. I wish we had a foot of snow. I wish we had an inch of snow. We haven't had any snow this whole winter.
let's get to the end of this movie because it's the most interesting and kind of twisting um ending to a movie.
We're back at the
So
autopsy theater.
yes.
They're about to cut him open and he's still thinking. You can still hear. I have a bruise on my hand. I have a
Oh
bruise on my hand.
no.
And he's still thinking. And he's like, I can move my hand. I can move my hand. And you see his hand move a little bit. And it's
Because
so sad.
he says, my heart, it's starting to beat again. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's coming back to life. So whatever they gave him or whatever happened is wearing off. And you can hear the heart going boom, boom, boom. But again, well, let's get to the end. I'm wondering, is he really dead or is this his thought process of what's going on? Because
Yeah.
everybody's there, all the students, the doctors, the guy who's in on it, who's going to do what he's going to do in a
It's
second.
the guy with the big
And
glasses.
Jessica is up there too.
She's
Is she in
watching.
on this and she wants to watch it? But
She sees him moving. She sees him.
for some reason, she's up there in the cop watching what's going on. I didn't understand that, but
There were a lot of spectators up there. All those men from the club were there. Jessica was there. The cop was there.
yes, they're there. But what ends up happening is that doctor who's part of secret society comes up, and as the heart starts beating more and more and his hand moves, the doctor grabs his hand, holds it
Yes.
still, and takes the scalpel to the heart area. And you think, oh my God, he's going to end up living. He's going to come back to life. But no, the doctor goes, boom, the scalpel goes right through the heart. And I guess he's really dead. And then
Because
there's
his
a
hand
pan.
stopped moving. The doctor was holding his hand, and when that
Yes.
went through his heart, he stopped moving.
So, and then it pans up to Jessica, and in Italian cinema fashion, she screams,
And that's
and
it.
the film stops right there. And again, if the hand didn't move, I may have thought this was all just a psychological kind of thriller, and he was dead the whole time and going over the murder plot in his head. But with the hand moving, kind of lends toward to him being alive, and whatever drug they gave him he was snapping out of it, and he was just a few seconds too late or a few minutes too late, and the society got him. So it happens that the secret society gets away with what they're doing and ends up killing this guy anyways. Uh, Makes you wonder about the other victims and if they were actually dead too, or if they were in a state the same way as Gregory was. You know what I mean? So it's just an interesting end to a movie.
So did they put him in that state like a zombie? Did they do that to him on purpose, or was he meant to die and he just didn't die?
They don't say. I think I think he was meant to be put in a zombified state,
For what reason? To
to
torture
su
him?
to suffer.
To
I mean,
suffer?
that's all I can think of. Because if they wanted to kill him, they would have. It took quite a while for them to end up getting him at the end in that anatomy, that room to dissect him.
The
So
autopsy theater. So who poisoned him and when and how? How did he end up like that?
he fell over the bridge. Cops got him. In between there somewhere, they didn't show it, but something happened. Whether he passed out, they brung him to. They don't say. The movie
Mm.
doesn't say. All you know is when he was at that singing beatnik type thing going on the bridge, when he was pushed over and ends up in the police, freezing and shaking, that's when everything started happening. So it had to have been during that time. They
Hmm.
just didn't show it. So, I mean, and either way, I mean, I think it's a very interesting concept and a very cool structure to a movie, a Giallo film in particular, that does things a bit differently. And from a director, Otto Lotto, who kind of, for his first film ever, does something completely different and does it very, very well, I think.
And that movie, I read it had been in the works for a very long time, but there was a problem with the funding, and then the first person they wanted to direct it didn't want to touch it, and they had it had been in the works for a long time before this guy finally agreed to do it. And you know what is sad? I found
Hmm.
an interview with him um, talking about this movie, but it was in Italian and it didn't have closed captions. And so many of the comments were like, could you translate this to English? Because I would love to hear what he has to say about it. I don't think he's
Yeah.
alive anymore.
Gene Sorel?
The director.
Oh, the direct. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Yeah.
I found a whole video of him talking about it, but it was in Italian. I was like, I would love to hear what he had to say about this.
No English subtitles, huh?
No.
That sucks. Yeah, let's see. He was born 1934. He is a writer director known for. Is he still alive?
Maybe he is. Well,
I
there's a
do.
video out there of him talking about it, and I'd love to hear it, but the guy didn't. And it's 10 years old. That's why I thought, maybe he's not even alive anymore, because the video was posted 10 years ago, and people were like, can you get English subtitles? And the host of the show said, yeah, I'll work on it. And it's 10 years ago. It still hasn't
According
happened.
to IMDb, though, he is not dead yet. He was born in 1934, which would put him at 89.
Almost 100 years old. He's 90, what, 91? 90? 89?
1934, 2023.
91?
So
Come here, mama.
yes, yes. So that's a good old age. I mean, good for you, Aldo. But yeah, I would give this Hammer Horror, says Man Schwitz Mike. No. Christopher Lee. Oh, you guys must be talking to yourself. Hammer Studios produced a ton of horror films in England. Yes, they did. Hammer Horror. Yepper. We got plenty of that on this channel. You guys got to dive back into the old stuff, man. But I would give this a 7.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, last week's movie I gave a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 5, 7.5 out of 10 for me
I
this
think
time.
last week you gave a 7.5.
No, I gave a 7.
7? Did
Yeah.
I give it 7.5? Maybe
No,
I
you
gave it
gave a.
7.
I think you gave a 4
No, I didn't.
or a
The one with
5.
Jennifer O'Neill?
Yes.
I love that movie. I gave that one a 7 or 7.5. This one I give 5.
5 out of 10. Okay. Well, yeah, I think it was different enough, and it kept me so involved, and the going back and forth, the way, he was laying on the bed and just those eyes, and then bouncing back and forth. It just, and incorporating the secret society, and then the set locations, everything, it kept me intrigued and
Oh,
interested.
absolutely. Judy Gayhart, you have to see this movie. I mean, this movie is definitely unique. I mean, I wouldn't take that away from it. It definitely has a concept that a couple of concepts that you won't see in any other movies. I felt like they could have done more with it, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I think I could have. 5 Giallo actors with mustaches out of 10 plants that feel pain.
And CM says this movie sounds confusing. Listen,
It's
the
not
the
really
one
confusing.
well, CM, I think you know Giallo films. I think so. You're pretty good at in the chat on all of this stuff, and I think you know to begin with, Giallo films on purpose make the movie a bit
Complicated.
confusing. Yeah, complicated, a bit confusing at times. This one, I don't think as confusing or as complicated, but laid out
If you've
differently.
seen it, you'll understand. It's just he's really lying in a morgue, but his mind is flashing back to what happened. So they're going back and forth. You've seen it before. It's not that
Yeah,
confusing if you watch it.
no. And Connie says 5.1. Ian Sharp says 7.5. Usually we agree, Ian Sharp. So there you go. Yes, definitely a movie I think should be watched. And I
Where's
do got
Mike
to see.
Barrett? I need his opinion. Where's that Barrett?
Do you need it? Worth a watch, guys. Yes, Dino, lots of twists. And I do want to see Who Saw Her Die, his second film, which people praise too. So
We should
I
do
don't
that.
know.
I'd be interested to see it too, to compare it to this.
Really?
Maybe
Okay.
I'll like that one more and you won't like that one as much.
You never know. But anyways, with that said, The Whistler all night tonight. So enjoy The Whistler. Timestamps so you guys know which episodes are there. Lots of cool ones I picked out for you guys.
And
And
if you haven't seen last night's stream, you need to go on Dino's page when you have time. Check it out. It's rare, really, really good detective shows. Really good.
all the
Stuff that I
overnight
never heard of.
detective stream last night. Yes, even Mr. Feathers ending the day. So there you go. And what more can I say? Trivia night, which was interrupted on Saturday evening, is going to be started at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Not tomorrow, the next day. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. because I'm going to give myself an extra hour to do trivia that night. So we are going to do probably a 2.5-hour trivia night just to get everybody for part 2, because technically, listen, everybody had a point each. CM was in the lead with 2. John Victor had 2, and Tab 75 Draws has 2. But everybody else had 1. So again, the 2.5-hour stream should bring those people back, and just gives us all extra time to have an extra long classic Hollywood trivia night. So there you go. With that said, thank you, Zardoz. Good to see you. Awesome stream last night. Appreciate it. Yeah, I guess there's nothing else to say except give a thumbs up on your way out. Links to the channel membership and the Patreon if you want to join it for movie nights and sometimes streams all day on Saturday.
Say a prayer for my
Twilight
bruise
Zone.
that I don't even know where I got it from. Say a prayer for my bruise.
Yeah, that's a bruise, all right.
I don't know where I got it.
Judy Gayhart, you two make it so interesting, though. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thank
guys.
you, Judy.
What you do. Shalom. Shalom, Mike. With that said, much love, peace, and high.